I took singing class from Love Weber when I was 17. She was a coach for the Mouseketeers, and I was to prepare 3 songs for the next USO show. I hadn't been there in a while, actually a long while, and she took one look at me as I walked in and she said, "Oh, I thought you were dead." I said, "No, I'm alive." Me, me, mo, mo, moo. Teacher's pet. I want to be teacher's pet. People, people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. My knees are shaking, I can hardly speak, I'm in love. I'm all shook up. I'm all shook up. Class ended. I walked across the street to the Catholic religious store with my friend Sherry Alberoni. She was also a Mouseketeer. And I bought a crucifix and a St. Christopher medal. Both were on a gold chain. I thought you said you were Jewish. I am, but if I don't make it as an actress, I'm going to be the first Jewish nun. Edith Stein was the first. Oh. I took the bus home for Hanukkah dinner. Simon, have some more chulent and noodlekugel. Eat. Don't eat so much you don't want to be fed like your mother. And then my mother lifted up the chain to get a better look, and she said, "Simon, what's this? Look at this cross, Rachmil. After all we suffered in the concentration camp, how the parents, how your cousin perished in Auschwitz. But Mom, Dad, the Jews for Jesus are coming." The Jews for Jesus are not coming. Once a Jew, always a Jew. This is your fault, Basha. You want to make Simon into a movie star. She will never be a star. She has no talent. Sorry, still shut up, Mr. Gad. She has talent. She wants to be a star. Simon, don't you want to be a star? Yes, Mother. See, what did I tell you? I am going into the kitchen to pray for my shikse tochter. I'm going to the temple to pray for the Chaya. Simon, I got you a new agent. Well, my new agent brought me to the new NBC studios in Burbank, and I was given a script and put to work, and I didn't know what the hell it was that I'm supposed to do. But it went really well. The whole thing went really well except for the beginning, where the director told me to hit your mark, hit your mark, hit your mark, hit your mark! I was supposed to stand behind the tape, which is the mark, so that the camera could focus on me. I played one of 3 lead girls. The star of the show, the young star, was the instigator who forced us to steal a fur piece, like a little shawl, from a department store. And we were caught by the manager, who marched us throughout the whole place, telling everybody that we were thieves, and we were taken to the police station. And our parents had to pick us up, and we had a police record. Well, that was really surreal, really kind of like a deja vu for me, because the year before I was a petty thief in high school. Everybody was doing it. Anyway, 2 girls got wind of it from my class, and they asked me to teach them how to do it. So we met in front of Orbach's department store by Wilshire and Fairfax, and then there was a big sale on the ground level, and I lifted a pair of gloves as we ascended the escalator to the 2nd floor. And then the next thing I knew, we were in the dressing room, and the 2 girls had lifted expensive mohair sweaters and skirts and stuffed it under their clothes. And somehow they got away with it and scared the hell out of me. I was shaking like a leaf, in shock, and then I parted from them and took the bus home. Well, a few days later, one of the girls called me and said, "Hey, you want to go steal some more stuff with us at Orbach's?" And I said, "No, thank you." I felt this really weird, foreboding feeling. And then a few days later, the other one called me, and she said, "Wow, oh man, it's good that you didn't go because we were stealing more expensive stuff and we got busted by the manager who marched us through the whole store telling everybody what big thieves we were. And we were taken to the police station and we have a police record. I hung up the phone and I prayed to God, oh, thank you, I'm so glad I wasn't there. I promise I'll never steal anything again. And I quit cold turkey right then. When I was 12, my parents and I and my brother, my baby brother, moved to Queen Anne Place, our haunted apartment building in the west side near Los Angeles High School, a little bit on the west side from Boyle Heights, which was a Jewish, Mexican, Japanese neighborhood from the 30s to the 50s with Holocaust survivors and their children and the Subotniks, and it was really multicultural, really wonderful. Anyway, so we got into my father's Oldsmobile and drove down Highland, north of Wilshire Boulevard, to pay the rent to the wealthy owners of our building, who had a nice big mansion there. And then we made a U-turn and stopped at the gas station on Wilshire and Highland. And the gas station was this really great Googie style. It took up the whole block. And LA was so great then for their architecture, all the beautiful Art Deco buildings in downtown, the Victorians, and the Googie style coffee shops. It was just magnificent. So, but now that former gas station is just a junky old mini mall that takes up the whole block instead, which is really sad, criminal to me. We've lost a lot of the beauty of old Los Angeles and the Southern California architecture that makes it well known. At any rate, so we stopped to get gas, and we got out of the car, and then I noticed a wallet lying on the ground, and I picked it up, and I said, who does this belong to? And a man, a very nice, dapper-looking man, dressed in a nice suit and chapeau, came up to me, and he took the wallet, and he patted me on my head, and he said, oh, honey, you're such a sweet and good and honest little girl, and smiled at my parents, and then went back into the station. And then we got back into the car, and I sat with my baby brother in the back seat, my mother sat in the front seat, and then my father was the driver, of course, and then he turned around and looked at me, and he said, Simone, why did you give the wallet that you should have kept the money? You're a fool. Well, I really wanted to be the good and honest little girl, but it was then that I started stealing the petty stuff. When we first moved to Boyle Heights from Brussels, Belgium, where I was born, my father was my movie buddy, and we would go to the movies on Brooklyn Avenue and see double features. And then there was the newsreel of the Allies liberating the concentration camps and the focus on the crematoriums. And I could see my father sitting there stone-faced, and I felt so helpless. He had the tattoo of the numbers. I just couldn't focus. I couldn't focus on them. I never learned them. I couldn't look. I looked through them, but they would just disappear, and they were so haunting. My parents rarely talked about what happened to them. My whole family was in the camps. Some survived and most perished, including my parents. My mother was in Bergen-Belsen, my father in Auschwitz and the Łódź ghetto. Anyway, I developed this habit of watching documentaries and reading and watching movies about World War II obsessively. And I read about the dead and how the survivors were stealing food, clothing, shoes, anything to just stay alive for one more day, for just one more moment. Anyway, on a lighter note, a couple of years ago, I was looking at vintage Los Angeles on Facebook, and then I saw this YouTube, and I clicked on it, and there I was, making TV soap opera history for the Days of Our Lives TV pilot, uttering the very first words, and also in episode 2, scene 1. So I have it on my IMDb page, and that was we filmed it in October 1965, and then it aired in November 1965. And then a few years before, I noticed this placard for skydivers. Well, I worked on that film when I was 12 or 13 years old, and then suddenly it appeared as well. And at that time, my stage name was Simone Pascal. An acting teacher had made that up for me. So anyway, this is a little bit of old LA Hollywood history. And I wanted to thank Lee for giving me this great show, and I'm really honored to be represented by him.
Thank you, Simone.
Thank you.
This is 3 years in the making since our friend Lara Pan,
Yes.
a curator from Europe, introduced us.
Yes.
And then like disappeared. Like she was just like, you guys need to know each other. And
Yeah.
but we've been talking about doing something in New York since then.
Yeah.
And the Animals. All right, she didn't really go into that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
but if you do, like, if you go online, I think there's an interesting juxtaposition there, based on everything she just said, and like, without going into it, her experiences in Los Angeles as a young actress, and I think if you put that in context with, the war and abuse. And I think, again, surviving. I mean, that's the theme kind of tonight's, like, we're in World War III, So, but everybody survived World War II. Well, not everybody, but those people that didn't actually, they're like time traveling, and they're in another dimension, so whatever, they're fine. We're still here. So, next up is Terry Lewis, aka Kid Lucky, and I was introduced to Kid by Rafael Vargas Suarez, who he's around. And I don't know, he didn't make it tonight, but Rafa is a close friend of mine, and he just got back 2 days ago, so I think he's still dealing with a serious jet lag. Rafa just got back from Kyrgyzstan, and that's a long flight. So Kid is like I would say, like, second generation beatboxer, like after Bobby McFerrin, but he has developed his own voice and movement in like sound art and music history, where it's beat rhyming, and it's a fusion of like the spoken word movement in poetry and performance, and then hip hop and rap, but he's created something that is extremely unique out of all music I've heard, and he has like a school for it, and so you could learn this as well. But there's this is last year this time during Freeze Week. It was the first time Terry performed, and a number I don't know, maybe that you've got like people in the audience again, but he surprised us with the wide range of sounds and experiences like that all come from the body. Like we're talking, like no computer necessary. So Kid Lucky, everybody.
Thank you everybody for coming. It's been